Whether you're a friend or a stranger, one world we're traveling through. Whether you're fearful or in danger, we will stand with you. When they teach hate, we will love, open up our arms so wide. When they scream and shout, we will sing. Whether you're a friend or a stranger, one world we're traveling through. Whether you're fearful or in danger, we will stand with you.
A very good morning to you all. It's a great honor to be here on the day set aside by the United Nations to champion the fight against racism. The day was chosen because on 21st of March 1968, South African police shot dead 69 anti-apartheid protesters in the township of Sharpeville. And it is right, ladies and gentlemen, that we mark the tragedy and the innocent life lost in what proved to be a significant turning point in the fight for racial equality. Unfortunately, while racism doesn't always make the headlines, it is around us, in our institutions, workplace, and in our communities. Today, the UK is very diverse than it was many years ago. We are people of all faiths and none. We are people of all skin colors. We need to reject racism and embrace our differences. This is the objective that brings us here today. Forward ever, backwards never. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Janet. Thank you.
Because the issue of refugees is being brought into very sharp focus now by the tragic events that are going on in Ukraine. But I think one of the things that we wanted to be really clear about is that we're really pleased that there's been a lot of action and attention paid to the needs of refugees coming from Ukraine, but there are refugees coming from conflict all over the globe, and we need to be as welcoming for refugees from wherever they come from, and that's part of our core message.
Today we wanted to mark the symbolism of being here and to say a big thank you to the RNLI, who, as you know, have a policy to help those who are in distress at sea, whoever they may be and wherever they may come from and whatever the circumstances. And we greatly respect the work that they do, and we appreciate that they have been under extraordinary pressure recently to maintain their neutrality and their non-discrimination attitude towards anybody that they find in distress. And so we want to say a huge thanks to them, and we have a small donation to make.
Here's a hand to help you all ashore, 'cause we're citizens of the world. And you're more than welcome here, and you're more than welcome here, and you're more than welcome here, 'cause we're citizens of the world.
And I will ask a young lady who is fearless, a young lady who is gifted, a young lady who is passionate, a young lady who wants to be in the forefront, who is a leader already. You see, people say young people are leaders of tomorrow. No, they are not. They're leaders of today. And we have an example here of a lady, Prince Nash.
This bill treats refugees like criminals, and the message ain't subliminal. Requirements for entry to UK are becoming additional. Shamima Begum's verdict was political with intent to be divisional. Open your eyes to what's happening, because the situation is critical. I'm tired of this country's collective amnesia about the colonization that happened overseas, how those atrocities brought so many countries to their knees, how the aftermath is why so many try to flee from their homelands that are no longer a safe place. This country relies so much on immigration, but the Borders Bill further divides this nation. A malicious collection of legislations, call it what you want, but it's plain discrimination. maximum 4-year sentence for arriving here unlawfully, and if you're caught helping migrants, you'll be reprimanded forcefully. I'm sickened and frustrated by the figures in authority who think that it's acceptable to treat refugees immorally. Deportation to other countries and shoved off to detention centres based on the model of offshore districts that exist in Australia. Suffering shouldn't be mandatory for minority groups. This has been condemned as illegal and human rights abuse. The government found ways to absolve themselves from the blame by suggesting the public's hospitality for those from Ukraine. The scheme is bittersweet and one step further away from attaining a universal welfare state. The lives and safety of those in need shouldn't be a debate. For their lack of compassion, the Tories should be fucking ashamed of the parties they had in lockdown while they danced on our graves and this hostile environment that they choose to create. If this bill doesn't make you livid, then you clearly ain't been listening. Now more than ever, we need compassion and solidarity and the right to work for asylum seekers and refugees. No borders, no pushback, no more inhumane conditions. No human should be punished for trying to find a better way of living.
This week, the government is trying to force through Parliament the anti-refugee Nationality and Borders Bill. There is so much wrong with it. It's hard to know what to choose to be the very worst examples. But the refugee movement has identified 3 aspects. This bill will criminalise anyone coming to the UK to seek sanctuary unless they have come via a legal route. This is against the letter and the spirit of the Refugee Convention, which has been in operation for 70 years since the Holocaust. At the moment, it's legal to seek sanctuary on our shores, no matter how you get here. But soon it will be an offence. Those Ukrainians and Afghans we've seen on our TV screens trying to get across from Calais will be treated as criminals and subject to imprisonment and deportation. Priti Patel tells us that people who come by legal routes need not fear the new law, but there are virtually no legal routes unless you are Ukrainian. You cannot apply for a visa to be a refugee. No such category exists. It also proposes offshore detention, the ludicrous idea that vulnerable people traumatised by war, by torture, by human trafficking should be bundled off to the other side of the world to be detained while their applications for asylum are dealt with. What happens to them after that is not clear. We are calling on Maria Caulfield to join these rebels to vote against the government and support the Lord's amendments. Please fill in a postcard asking her to vote for the Lord's amendments, and we'll deliver it through her constituency offices before you leave.
Take back the commons, snap the flag and break the chain. Take back the commons, raise a glass to Thomas Paine. Take back the commons, no more diggers rise again. Take back the commons.